In this video, I'm going to go over how to assemble your single shaft add-on kit. In the kit, you get your main gear that drives the PVC shaft. Should be a decent fit on there. And then you get a front and back plate and two support plates. In the baggie, there should be a 5mm vial of synthetic grease. This is food safe grease. Let's see, you get 4 spacers. I'll call these little paisley shaped spacers. You get 4 632 by 7/8 screws, 4 washers, and 4 nuts. What you're going to need from your previous base unit kit is your calibration assembly kit for the PVC. Just snap that together, and then I'm going to pause the video for a second here and move all this stuff out. Alright, so you're going to put your assembly jig for the PVC pipe to gear together. You're going to leave the plastic or paper coating that's on your gear intact. Now, all your parts can be plastic coated or paper coated depending on which manufacturer I got the acrylic from. And you're going to take the PVC pipe and insert it into the jig, and you'll see you just push the gear down so that it's flush with the assembly jig. And it should be nice and flat there. And you're just going to take some cyanoacrylate super glue. I never can say that word right. And just go around the edges of your PVC pipe here. And put a few drops in there. And one thing you can do to help spread it around, if it hasn't set yet, is just spin it around, or what I normally do is just blow on it, and it kind of moves the bubble of super glue around, and you should have a nice distribution of it around the PVC pipe. And just leave it in the jig until it sets, and that's about a 15-minute, 20-minute setup time. And we'll just set this aside, and then we'll continue on with our spacers. I'll move those down here. Alright, I'm going to zoom in so we can see these a little bit better. And the first thing you want to do is peel the coatings off of the spacers. And while you're waiting for the super glue to set on the gear in PVC, you can also peel it off of the front and back plate and the 2 support plates. I found a way to make the assembly a little bit easier. As I keep assembling these, I find new ways to make things a little bit easier, and I'll try to incorporate them in the videos. And then at some point when I have time, I'm going to go back and redo the original videos with all the tips and tricks that I've learned. But anyways, I'm going to stop the video and I'm going to peel the paper and plastic off of all these parts, and then I'll get back to you guys in a few minutes here. So I just peeled all the paper and plastic off of the front, back plate, and the support plates, and then the spacers, and throw that in the trash. And then we'll just set these guys aside here. And you're going to want to take the 2 paisley shaped spacers. I'm going to zoom in on them so you can see what I'm going to do. Get the camera to focus. And we're going to take, and you want one to face with the flat side down and one with the flat side on the top here. You don't want them both to be facing the same way, but you want one in each direction. So just like that. And this makes this assembly a lot easier than having these washers loose. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the washers and line them up near the holes, so they're lined up with the holes, and you can just take a screw and just stick it down in the hole so that you know you can fit the screw through the hole. And you want them to be nice and lined up, and you just take a drop of super glue and just touch it to where the washer and the acrylic touch each other. And we're just going to let that set up while the main gear and PVC is setting up. So we'll just let all this stuff sit for about 20 minutes, 15 minutes, and then we'll get back to it. Alright, so the PVC and gear are set. Now if you want to, you can add another bead of super glue around here. It just increases the strength on this. I will do that just for this video, and I've found that they're pretty strong without adding the second layer on here, but you can always make it a little bit better by just putting a few more drops on there and on the back side of it. And then since it's already glued, you can't twist the PVC pipe in the gear anymore, so you got to blow it around. So you should end up with a nice distribution of super glue around there, and then we're just going to let this set up for a little while, maybe another 10 minutes, and then we'll get back to peeling this plastic coating off of this gear. Alright, so now that the super glue should be set up on here, we're going to go around and peel the plastic or paper coating, whatever's covering your acrylic. It really depended on who I got the acrylic supplies from. And you're going to want to just carefully go around and remove all of this. I'm going to stop the video and remove it because I'm sure you definitely don't want to watch me do this. And then I'll start the video again to show you the removing the coating that's attached with super glue here in the corner. Okay, so what you're going to find is like little pieces of acrylic or the paper or plastic will stick in the spots that are not very, that have very complex shapes. So you just want to clean all that stuff off. But also where the super glue got a hold of the covering, you just cut it off with an X-Acto. Just work your way around it. Carefully take it off. And this will take a couple minutes to get through all this stuff, so I'm going to stop the video again and just go work through removing all the stuff in the very edge here. Alright, so I just got done peeling as much of it as I could off with the X-Acto knife. And you can see there's still a little bit left here. It's not entirely super critical that you get all of it out of there, but what you want is it to be pretty smooth along the edge. You can feel with your finger here, because that's where the gear is going to be riding on the front and back cover. So the next thing you're going to want to do is you should have had some of your synthetic lube and your brush left over from your base unit kit. I have included a fresh vial with the add-on kit, but if you don't have any left over from your base unit kit, you can use the fresh vial. And just get some grease on there and go around the edge and make a nice smooth amount of it, just a little bit on both sides of the gear around the PVC. You want to just make sure it's all spread around there. Now, one of the things we did on the base unit kit is we actually lubricated the gear teeth. And there's one of those little pesky little hairs from the brush. We're not going to do that until we get the whole thing assembled, the whole add-on kit assembled. So I'm going to go ahead and start assembling it here. So we're going to set this back here, and this is what you want to do, is you want to make sure that the holes are all lined up. And you just drop the gear in there. Now if you have debris on here, you want to make sure it's cleaned off, because the acrylic is very staticky and it attracts stuff if it's dry where you're at, like it is here in Colorado. Just kind of clean it off the best you can. because whatever you have in there is going to be riding around in a circle, grinding against your gear and slowly wearing it out. Everything mechanical wears out. So, and the more that you can do to keep it from getting debris in there, the less it's going to wear out, the slower it's going to wear out. So this is where gluing those little washers in came in handy, because now you don't have to mess with lining those up anymore. You put those in the side where the gear is sticking out. You don't have to do both of them at the same time. Let's just do one at a time. And then you take the side plate and line it up with the hole and drop a screw through. And then we'll go ahead and stick the other paisley spacer in there. Drop a screw through that one. And get that to line up and drop through. And then we're going to take the other plate and stick it on there. And now at this point you should have just enough thread sticking through that you can get your nut on there. Twist it on there. We're just going to finger tight these real quick without any tools. And then you just want to line up these guys. I'm going to grab a screwdriver just a second. Okay, so I went and grabbed a Phillips screwdriver. I should have had that sitting on the table. So you're going to tighten these screws up, but to make sure that the spacer stays aligned, just drop one of the two screws through each one of them, the two remaining screws, and that'll just make sure that these stay in alignment. Now you're just going to finger tight these with 2 fingers on your screwdriver. No more pressure than that, because you can crack the acrylic if you exert pressure on these nuts and screws. So that's what you want to do. Pop these guys out, and then we're going to lubricate this gear real quick. So you take your brush, get some grease on it, and we're just going to take this gear and just go through, and you don't have to hit every one of them, but get at least a quarter of the thing done. And let's throw a little bit more on there. Now I haven't done anything with these other screws and nuts yet, because depending on how many add-ons you're going to add on, each add-on just plugs in to this section, and then you just say you take another add-on. Let me grab another add-on real quick. So here's another add-on. You would just slide them together like so, and then you would take the screw and nut that was on this one and drop it in there. And that's all you would do to add on to the next add-on section. And the same thing for your base unit. You just remove the 2 end spacers and use those to seal up the very end of your add-on section. Anyways, I hope this video helps you assemble your add-on unit. And if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. I have more videos coming. And thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.